This Chat with the Experts is brought to you by Angie's List on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Chat with the Experts, brought to you by Angie's List. I'm Kyle Hawk, and I'm here today with Kathy Duvall of Beach Bum Vacations in Indianapolis. And we were just talking about the benefits of hiring a travel agent, which there appears to be many more than maybe you previously thought. But let's say that it's you've heard all this, somebody's listening this morning, they've said, you know what, I'm going to hire a travel agent for my next trip. That raises the next question. What should I actually look for in a travel agent? Are they all the same, or are there signs that you're getting a good one over somebody who may not be as qualified?
Well, that's a good question as well. If I were to hire a travel agent, I would first start with one who has traveled.
Yeah.
And if your agent has not left that building or that desk for the last 10 or 15 years, I'd probably go someplace else.
Yeah.
Additionally, this is one thing about Beach Bum Vacation, and this is what our owners are passionate about. Mm-hmm. At any one time, there's 5 of us that are going someplace, and then they come back, tell the rest of the beach bums, this place was good, this place was bad. We also are able to establish relationships with the general managers, so that if something's going on, or if you want a special amenity, special attention, a lot of times that's already waiting for you when you get there.
Right.
As far as, let's just say, cruises, not all cruises and not all cruise ships are created equal. And you can't just go strictly on price. Well, an inexperienced agent might say, oh, here's a great deal. An experienced agent, myself particularly, I will be taking my 35th cruise in the next couple of months. There isn't a ship or a puddle that I haven't visited.
Yeah.
I got an idea what I'm talking about. This is good, this is bad, this is what I would avoid.
Yeah.
So the first thing when it comes to an agent, somebody who has actually traveled, who has actually walked these resorts, who has actually done destination weddings, been on a ship, been on an airplane recently, where they can provide some assistance.
Yeah, that makes total sense, and it's a very important conversation to have as you're going about the hiring process. I also wanted to get your take on the best time to actually book a trip. If I, hire beach bums and I'm getting ready to put a trip together, is there a bad time of year for me to be thinking about things? Or, how does that work?
Well, you don't want to book a trip too late, because then you've lost airfare. Sometimes I have people say, I want to wait for a last-minute special. Okay, fine. You might get a last-minute special on a ship,
right,
which is good if you already live in Florida and you don't have to take airfare. But if you have to fly there, by the time you get a last-minute special, the air's all gone and the air's ridiculous. Another mistake people probably make is booking or going to the wrong destination for the wrong reason. My neighbor went there. Well, does your neighbor know anything? And maybe your neighbor went there with 3 kids and you're going on a honeymoon.
Sure.
Another thing I would suggest is that people prioritize. In a perfect world, there would be ocean view room, perfect beach, perfect food, perfect service, nonstop flight for $1,000 a person. Well, that's in a perfect world, but this is an imperfect world. So one needs to prioritize. Get a ballpark budget in mind. And another mistake people make is they want to go someplace different. Well, they might have liked the first place just fine, but they say, well, we want to go someplace different, and yet it's still expected to be the same price as the first place that you went. If you're going someplace different, there was a reason you decided against option B in the first place and went for option A. So if you're going to go to option B this time, then prepare for it to be a little different. And as I say, probably book as early as you can. In a general rule, book as early as you can, mainly for your airfare.
Yeah, I would imagine you've got some people that come in, know exactly where they want to go, what their budget's going to be. But do you have others that come in and maybe have a few different destinations in mind and want you to kind of help walk them through what their options are going to be?
That's exactly what we're here for. I will have somebody come in and say, this is where I want to go. I had one just a couple weeks ago. We want to get married in Sorrento, Italy. After I talk to them a minute, they say, we want it seamless. Believe me, there's nothing seamless in Italy at all. And I'm going, you don't want this. Now here, if this is your priority, we want it seamless and beautiful. All right, this is where you're going to go. You're not going to Sorrento, Italy.
Sure.
As I kind of explained to them a few things, they go, oh my heavens. So this is where an agent will be able to help. And if they come in, they come in with something in the back of their mind, then yes, I can either affirm it or say, yeah, that's okay, but let me tell you A, B, C, and D, and maybe this might be a better choice.
Sure. Well, in mentioning Italy, I also wanted to talk with you about international travel. What are some of the considerations there?
Passport, price, overpacking, underestimating the cost of international travel. It's just absolutely daunting. Underestimating the hassle of the language barrier. And I will do these trips for people where they will go city to city. I did one for people last year. They wanted 6 full weeks, and I went them city to city to city. And I said to the young man, I said, now, getting on rail, packing and unpacking, the language barrier, that's daunting. He says, well, that's part of the fun. I say, okay, Tom, you call it fun, I call it a pain, but you have to kind of get in mind what you're really looking at,
right.
Which is why a lot of times when it comes to overseas, if people can cruising the Med it's a vacation rather than a constant challenge to get trains and rail and pack and unpack. But some people, I've done that myself. So It just depends on what people, or if they want an organized tour where all of the thoughts and the planning is done for them. They just go to their hotel lobby in the morning, their transfer bus is waiting, and there they go. They have a tour guide the whole time. Some people prefer independent. Some people prefer cruises. So after I can kind of talk to somebody for a bit, I can pretty much tell them the good and the bad and the ugly about each way they could do international travel.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about there, and as you're putting that all together and thinking about what it's actually going to be like. And I've talked about this on the show before. My wife is a very organized person, even when it comes to travel, whereas I tend to be a little more disorganized, a little more scatterbrained. I wonder
it's a man thing.
Yeah,
it's a man thing.
So. I was wondering if you could share some general travel preparation tips to kind of help everybody get everything in order and in line to help make the trip a little bit more seamless.
First thing, of course, I would say is to use some kind of a travel professional who does know what they're talking about. Now, look, you want to do a one-way ticket to Tampa, go to southwest.com. Fine. That's a no-brainer. Go for it. The further away you're going to go, you want to consider trip insurance. And sometimes we don't want to overinsure, but we don't want to underinsure either. There's many policies. There's many variations in a lot of policies. So that's another thing you can think about is some trip insurance. Getting the foreign currency before you arrive. Right. Of course, that passport, one thing I always tell people, just leave me a copy of your passport. I've got people all over Europe right now. My email is inundated with their copies of their passport in the highly unlikely event that the hotel at which they're staying, when you check into a hotel overseas, you do surrender your passport. So I prepare them for that, and in the unlikely event you're going to lose, the place is going to burn down, your passport's going to be gone, leave a copy of it with me, our family member, something like that. Arrival transfers, departure transfers, just things like that. That they may arrive and say, okay, I'm here, what do I do now? So I usually work well ahead of them and have it all prepared for them and all their questions answered.
Yeah, the more stuff you can kind of get together beforehand and have all in one place, the better it's going to be.
Sure.
Quickly here, before we go to break, I wanted to get your opinion on travel insurance. You brought it up. We've got about 60 seconds here. Is travel insurance something that you would recommend to everybody on every trip, or does it depend on the situation?
Well, each situation, you're right, is totally different. If I'm just going to do Southwest Air, where there are no cancel and change fees, which is a blessing, and I'm just going to do 2 days to Vegas, 2 days to Lauderdale, okay, my own insurance company is going to cover me if I have an accident because I am still in the United States. Maybe I can forego it, okay? Many people do not realize that their own insurance company does not cover them should they become injured or ill outside the country. They don't know what some pot-smoking Jamaican doctor may do to you. So basically, this is for medical coverage if you're outside the country and not covered by your own insurance company. The other thing is people do not realize the hefty cancel and change fees if they become sick. You got a $6,000 trip hanging out there. You don't want that to be totally obliterated because of the case of the flu.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take another quick break here, but don't pack your suitcase just yet. When we return, we're going to take a look at what's trending when it comes to travel, and we'll even take some listener questions and ask them to our guest, Kathy Duvall. Keep it right here. You're listening to Chat with the Experts, brought to you by Angie's List.
Do you love a good bargain? Angie'sList.com showcases popular deals from highly rated local companies so you can save time and money on the home and health services you need most. Remodeling your kitchen? Painting your house? Cleaning your carpet? We've got a deal for that. Angie's List members even have access to exclusive discounts, up to 80%. Don't waste another day or another dollar. Start shopping now at Angie'sList.com.